But first, before I talk about any sports, gotta talk about Rich Homie Quan, and I gotta talk about the school shootings first. But we're going to talk about Rich Homie Quan. Rest in peace to Rich Homie Quan, who passed away at 34 years old. It says that he pretty much died off of an overdose. The Atlanta native, who was an instrumental in that city's takeover of hip hop sound and attitude in the mid 2010s, has died. Rapid Angel alongside peers like Young Thug, with whom partnered in the group Rich Gang, resulted in a string of hits that had switched to rap, from songs like Ooh Ooh, Lifestyle, Walk Through, Ride Out with Lil Dicky, Say That Money. Like, he got a whole bunch of songs, and he was, basically king. He wasn't King Atlanta, but he was one of the people in the 2010s that, like, Atlanta, everybody knew who Rich Homie Quan was. And just rest in peace. They were saying that he died from like some sort of overdose. He overdosed off something, and normally when it is rappers and they do overdose, it's some sort of lean or any type of pills and stuff like that. So he died at 34 years old, and it's just crazy. What I will say is crazy that you see these rappers, if they don't get shot and killed, like we just had King Von a few years ago get shot, Jada Youngin got shot, you hear PNB Rock get shot, Pop Smoke getting shot. If it isn't from dying in regards to being killed, Foolio, who literally just passed away last month or the month before, passed away by getting killed. If it ain't from that, it's from some sort of overdose. Rich Homie Quan, Juice World, and it's just the rap. I feel like now the rappers are dying like at a much faster rate more than ever. Like back then, I don't think they were dying as frequently as all of these rappers that we're hearing. Like it seemed like left and right rappers are dying, whether that's from being killed, whether that's from overdose, whether that's from anything. And if he died from whatever it was, whether that's a perk, whether that's lean or whatever, like one thing I will say, and you see, like I said, Juice World passed away from an overdose. Big Scar passed away from an overdose. Did Enchanting die from an overdose? Let me see what happened to Enchanting, because I know Enchanting passed away too. How did she pass away? Drug overdose. It says after a heart attack caused by a drug overdose. So all of these rappers are dying from a drug overdose. Here's my thing. Like, I have done my fair share of drugs. I have smoked. I have drank. I done done shrooms for, like, I'll be honest with y'all. I done done my fair types of drugs. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I will tell you, I will never do no drug that has the potential of killing me. Like, if I take too much of it, you can potentially die from it. Anything that literally puts a risk of you dying that same day, you should not take it. Now, yes, weed can be laced. All of that stuff can be laced. You get what I'm saying? But what I'm trying to say is, like, those are natural, like, things that could come from a plant. Weed, shrooms, all of that. Alcohol, I mean, obviously ain't a drug like, a plant that you smoke or whatever, like you drink it. But these perks and these cocaines, these crystal meths, or any of these things that, like, it's you have to add shit to it. You should not want to put none of that stuff in your body. And it's crazy to see all of these rappers or just anybody die from a drug overdose. Like, the things that they're taking, like, I know everybody goes through situations. Everybody has their own, traumas and that they go through, right? But taking these hard drugs that have the potential of killing you right then and there, you know what I'm saying? That should be like just a no-go at all. Drugs, period, should be a no-go. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell somebody that hasn't taken drugs, do not take no drugs, because that can be a gateway to something serious. And obviously when you're in the rap game, you have to watch out for, laced drugs. You may have ops or whatever, and they may try and take you out. They may try and lace your weed. They be trying to lace anything with fentanyl. You see so many fentanyl overdoses or things being laced with fentanyl and somebody dies. Like, you hear that more than ever. So, Rich Homie Quan, everybody in Atlanta know who you are. Even the people outside of Atlanta, like, know who you are. And he was coming back. Rich Homie Quan was coming back. Now, I haven't listened to a Rich Homie Quan song in a little minute, but one thing I will say is, like, Rich Homie Quan has always been that, whether he was making music or he wasn't making music. In Atlanta, he was always known. He was going to be known, you know what I'm saying? And what I will say is rest in peace to Rich Homie Quan, for real. Rest in peace to all of these rappers, not even just Rich Homie Quan, all of the ones that are dying from these drug overdoses because they're dying at a young age. And Chanton literally just died, what? Not even at 30. Rich Homie Quan only made it to 34, which, to be honest, is young. Juice WRLD died in his 20s. All of these people dying. Big Scar died at, like, I think 26 or 27, whatever it was. He was still young. But taking these pills, like, go to rehab if you need to. Real shit, go to rehab. Like, I know that everybody has fuck-ups. Everybody has, story is different. I may have went through one thing, but somebody else's childhood could have been way worse than mine. You know what I'm saying? But drugs is not the way to go. Plain blank period. Drugs is not the way to settle things, because of the simple fact you still gotta face that reality. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I done done my fair share of drugs. I can admit to that. But I'll never do anything that has the potential of killing me right then and there when I take it. Meaning I'll never take anything that I could overdose on right then and there. You can't overdose off of no weed. You can't overdose and it'll literally kill you right then and there. Your heart stops and all that. The only times that it'll get laced. But the principle is, if you get it from the right person and you trust that person, it's not going to happen. But taking these perks, taking that lean, I don't want none of that. Y'all can have those leans, those perks, those Xanax, those ecstasy pills. Y'all can have all of that. But just know, if you do take those things, just know what could come with it. That may be your first and last time taking it, because you take it one time and then you end up passing away. And you can't take that back. You can't take that back at all. We seriously, in the U.S., have a drug addiction problem. Whether that, it can just be something as little as weed, or it can be something as hard as crack cocaine or pills. But you really see a opioid problem. Look at NBA Youngboy. NBA Youngboy right now is in jail for obviously his gun case, but he was trying to get prescriptions. Lean, pills, all of that. Ended up getting caught up. If that doesn't show you, and the crazy thing with that story, he had, I think they said, young boy had the whole, like, doctor's, like, number, or, like, the shit that, like, doctors basically have to recognize them. Some across the lines of that. He provided the right numbers and all of that. The right, basically, identification for all of that. The only reason why he got caught up was a simple fact. The number that he used to the doctor's office was wrong. They called the doctor's office, was like, hey, did you prescribe this to this person? No, I didn't prescribe it. They did an investigation, found out that it was fraud, and boom, that got him. But the principle is, if you have to go that deep to get some drugs, you have a drug problem. You have an opioid problem. You have whatever you're trying to get. You have a problem. YB has a problem. Youngboy has a drug addiction problem. But going back to Big Scar, like, it's a serious opioid problem that the United States has to fix. But people have to want to get the help though first. The government can provide these rehab programs and all that, but if nobody wants to take the right measures to make themselves clean, and I'm not saying it like it's hard. Yes, it's hard. but you got to continuously take the right steps. But if you're not willing to do that, you're going to get caught up in this drug cycle. You're going to have all these withdrawals when you do try and do it, and then you're going to hop back on, and it's just going to be, you're going to spiral out of control mentally, and then your body's just going to shut down, and who knows, the last perk that you take, all of that, that may just be the end of it. May just be the end of it. Now, when Rich Homie Quan passed away, though, the side hoes that Rich Homie Quan was messing with was starting to come out and basically, you know, give their rest in peace and all of that stuff. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Erica Banks, I think that's who it was. You know, she was one of the people that, you know, said her rest in peace and stuff like that. And also, you know, the girlfriend had finally came out after all of those side hoes was saying, you know, rest in peace and the things that, you know, Rich Homie Quan was doing with them. My whole thing is this. If it was private when he was alive, why is it coming in public about how you felt about Rich Homie Quan at the time? Like, that's dead at all. That is dead, point blank, period. If you want it to be this woman in the background just because Rich Homie Quan probably giving you some bread, you know what I'm saying, keeping you stable and you not doing anything, why when he passed away you want to say all these feelings about how you feel about a person? It's like nobody really cares about you for real until you pass away. Now, some people do, granted. But most people, they don't care about you. They don't see the effects of you until you pass away. They don't want to say anything about you until you pass away. They going to say all of these things. Oh, you were this type of person. You was this good, caring, all this, you know, type shit, type of person. But where was all of this when he was alive? Where were all of these women that were saying, you know, rest in peace and how they felt towards Rich Homie Quan? Where were all of these people at? And I'm glad that the girlfriend stepped out and said what she had to say and shut all of that down. That's what she needed to do. Because now these women want to come and say how they really felt about Rich Homie Quan and, you know what I'm saying, things like that. Like, that ain't right. If they were a secret then, they need to be a secret now. Don't just now say how you feel about somebody just because they ain't there no more. You know what I'm saying? So I'll say rest in peace, you know, to Rich Homie Quan. And I know the girlfriend is most definitely hurt. I know the father is hurt because this is what the father said. Let me go ahead and pull it up. So it says, unbearable pain, Lord. Please, please, please help me understand this. To lose my first son, my firstborn, my best friend. Lord, please let this be a dream. Y'all pray for me and my family. I feel like I'm crushed into a million pieces. Like, being a parent and just seeing your son pass away, let alone from an overdose, like, that's sad. That is sad. And I don't know what he was going through. I don't know the behind the scenes of Rich Homie Quan. You know what I'm saying? That'll make him want to take, you know, whatever he ended up passing away from. Because I know this isn't the first time he has used whatever he did use to pass away. And to me, I think he just ended up, you know, having a bad trip and got laced. He got laced by something. You know, I don't think it was like he took too much. I think he got what he normally got, but at this time it was laced, you know what I'm saying? He may have had some, who knows what it could have been. But what I will say is, the bottom line is we have an opioid problem in the United States. We have a drug addiction, period, problem in the United States. And if it ain't weed, if it ain't shrooms that is natural, if it ain't alcohol, do not do it. Do not do it, because these harder drugs, they add in extra shit to it that don't need to be in it, and it'll mess you up. It'll mess you up. If you do drugs, do those three, but don't do drugs at all. Point blank, period. because what you see now, once someone starts, it's hard for them to get off. It's hard for them to get off, and it can be a gateway to something way worse. And then you get caught in too deep. One thing I will say, yes, I'm saying that if you do a drug, do weed, shrooms, do something that's natural. But one thing I will say, those are gateway drugs. That's where it starts. It can start off with weed. It can start off with smoking cigarettes. Then you get that high feeling. You get that high feeling too many times. Then you gotta find something to keep that high. Like, yes, it's a gateway drug. I will say that. That's why I say don't do drugs at all. But if you do it, do those, because those won't kill you. You can't overdose from it. What I mean, and you gotta stay disciplined. If you're able to do those drugs and function in regards to like still be able to do your work, then yeah, do it. But if you do these drugs and you can't be on your shit, you can't stay on your grind, do not do those at all. Do not do it at all. But I think Rich Homie Quan, he just ended up getting laced. He got laced with some. I don't know what he took, but I think it's opioids. 9 times it's either opioids or it's lean, because Atlanta, they gonna drink that. They gonna drink that. So I'll say it's either one or the other. I don't know which one it is, but it's one of them. So rest in peace to Rich Homie Quan. My condolences go out to the family, the father especially, the girlfriend, and I just want to say rest in peace to Rich Homie Quan.